promiscuity on campuses. I believe that there have been news flying around and so many things on social media, on the blogs, in the news bulletins as well, talking about the increase of infections and diseases on the various campuses.
Yeah.
And so, I believe that we all have in one way or the other seen some of these articles. So that's what we are discussing today. To join us do that is Mr. Michael Jokoto, who is a counselor and also part of the technical heads that we have here at Z, and also Ngozi Boateng, who is a gossipreneur. And I so Ngozi and Bra Mike are joining us for the discussion. And of course, our very most important guests are you out there who are listening. So we get to hear from you, and you can also add your voice to the conversation through the WhatsApp number 0544321019, and let's get interactive. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
And also ladies and gentlemen listening, welcome once again. Okay, so promiscuity on campuses. I think Bra Mike shared an article with me, right?
Okay.
Let me quote something that shook me when I read it, aside the numbers that I knew of. So this, according to the Ghana AIDS Commission, per their statistics, it records that an estimated 50 people are infected by HIV daily in Ghana.
Daily.
An estimated number of 50 people are infected every single day with HIV in Ghana. And this is as at 2023. So now it means that the numbers could have increased.
There's a likelihood.
A very high likelihood. Yeah. And then according to a report from Kasapa FM Online, the commission also reported that 218,000 people have been infected by HIV, and they do not know their status. 218,000, not 218 people, 218,000 of infected people do not even know their status. So they are walking around, living their lives, being careless if they are careless people, and probably spreading it as they go about their day, or nobody knows. And additionally, more than 152,000 people are living with HIV but are on antiretroviral drugs. And out of that 152,000, 36,000 male adults, 109 female adults, and 5,000 children.
Wow.
These are heartbreaking numbers.
Yeah.
When I did the research and I read about these, I'm like, yo, this is wild.
Yeah.
And apparently, from the same statistics, it reports that between the ages of 15 and 49 are like actively infected. Between the ages of 15 and 59. And we know that some of the children are even born with the virus already. Yeah. So imagine if they are saying that from 15 to 49, how about those who are less than 15 who were born with it?
Exactly.
And are living with it and do not know or know.
But they'll know if you're born with it.
Yeah, I'm saying that. So those who do not know and those who know.
Yeah.
All in all, the numbers are mind-blowing, very disturbing, and very worrying. And I saw other blogs as well that said that when you go on the various campuses, the spread of the virus is wild because the students are living life. You know what they say? They are living. Yes. Life is to be lived into their living life with no care in the world. And like I said earlier, how do you leave home healthy to go and study and equip yourself only to come back home sick? In as much as we say that the virus is not as deadly as it used to be, and that's not the end of your life. I mean, who would want to even contract it in the first place?
Exactly.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is what we are dealing with. These are the numbers. I just read the numbers out so that we know how serious this conversation is.
Exactly.
And the need for it to be had. Along the line, we would play some voices. We were able to get some students from some of the various campuses to speak and tell us about what they think and if it's really true that this, in quote, promiscuity was on the rise or on the increase in their schools. So some of them were able to talk to us. So we'll play the voices as time progresses. So for now, welcome again. And this is what we are discussing. I don't know who would want to start. And Bamai?
Okay. So I think this is a topic that many run away from, but it is a fact.
Yeah.
Things are not looking good in the on the campuses in general. I think that the basis of it all is the morality levels that are going down, and then the desire for a lot of things, you know, material things, the beauty of things, you know. At the root of it, you cannot exonerate the older generation, especially the male factor, because you have this well-to-do adults who already have, some of them whose children might be these young ones in the universities, trying as much as possible to behave like the young ones, and taking them out, sleeping with them, you know. So it becomes a competition for the young girls on the campuses. They all want to be like their friends.
Right.
Everybody wants to have the latest iPhone. Everybody wants to have the latest bag, the latest footwear, and etc. So then, even though their parents probably might have given them the best they have, because of the competition on campus, they easily fall for the status quo. After all, in their minds, what they say is, after all, what is it? It's about just a few minutes and you are done with, and you get what you want.
The reward.
Yeah, exactly. So, but beyond the few minutes, the repercussions is what we are seeing. You know, sex in general is not just a few minutes affair. It is beyond those few minutes. And again, you might think, okay, this person is just a fling, just a few minutes, but then it opens you up to extras, because what you might have experienced becomes registered in your system. And so, yes, probably for that iPhone, you went in for just those few minutes, but beyond the iPhone, you realize that the system creeps. And then probably she has a boyfriend on campus and begins to sleep with that boyfriend, irrespective of whatever might have gone on in the past relationship. Probably it was an unprotected sex situation. He or she, gets some kind of transmissions from that, sleeps with this other one, passes it on, and then the chain continues. You know, so this situation is more serious, and it is not something that the authorities can really control, because in the university, you are more or less your own moral controller. The authorities don't really control your moral activities. It's your educational activity that probably they have a bit of control, but the morals are virtually left to you. Exactly, to you to decide. And so it's a conversation that we must take seriously. We are turning a blind eye to it, but like you said, the numbers are going high, and of course we don't even know the exact numbers, if we should really go into the numbers,
because this is as of 2023
and 23, and so if we should really go into the numbers, we are likely to see high spikes in many cases, because when you interact with some of them, you would realize that the thing is not as simple as we are seeing from the outside. And then this situation of same sex worsens the whole thing. You know, there's a lot of transmission concerning the same sex marriage thing. One person I counseled, the person even did not know until he started having some ailments, went to the hospital, and they required that test.
Oh Lord.
For him to now realize that he was HIV positive. You know, so it's something that so for example, this gentleman, he's a male.
Yeah.
For a long time, he didn't know that he was HIV positive. Imagine that period. He has unprotected sex.
Good God.
Even with the females.
Yep.
What happens? You understand? So it's a serious topic that we honestly need to engage in. I read one of the pastors trying to speak to it on one network, and the university clapped back.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I mean he probably didn't have data.
Right.
He didn't have information, but it doesn't stop the fact that we need to discuss the issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop the fact that it is a problem that needs to be dealt with. Of course, the reputation of the said university might be at stake. That's why definitely they clap back. But we don't need to throw it under the bus. It is something that we need to address quickly, because it is about the future generation and not about something that we can just gloss over. If we want a healthy future generation, then we need to deal with the issue now and get it sorted out.
Thank you very much, Ngozi.
Just like Mike said, I think the reason why these things are happening is just like you said, people trying to live above their means. For me, I think a couple of factors. People trying to live above their means. People who already maybe might have faced some traumatic experience, and they are, how do I say, the way they are showing that off is through promiscuity. Because whether we like it or not, sex addiction is actually one... how do I put it? It's a traumatic. It can be a traumatic response or trauma response for some people, because especially people who have been raped or something, they just go through partners some of the time when you don't speak to them on it. Now, it's rampant. There are so many things going on, and I believe that one of the main reasons could be in Ghana. I don't feel like we have a open, how do I say, a tradition of talking about sex openly. We hide it too much, and it doesn't help. I feel like that thing actually does more harm than to help you.
That's true.
For me, I know a wide range of people. I keep telling you, I have that character where people are comfortable with telling me some of the things that they have done. You understand? They're very comfortable opening up to me. And so I have people who have come from the innocent part of life versus the hard side of life. And I like deeping, I like thinking about things. So I like getting to understand why people are the way they are. And then you find out that for the people who are very promiscuous, their parents were very... Don't talk about it. Hey,
they learned from outside.
So they learned from outside. But the ones who kept themselves to, You know,
Open
the
up.
older ages were the ones who their parents told them, oh, you know, yeah, this is what it is. But then it is for adults, or it's for this, and this is for mommy and daddy, or, you know, you need to be patient. The things that I give you, you need to be satisfied in the things. This is how men will try to deceive you, or this is how women will try to deceive you. When someone, they were exposed, they were educated, they spoke to them. So they understood sex before they even were confronted with it. And when you understand it, that way you know how to, you know, to prevent yourself from being a victim of it. Because a lot of the young ones, they feel like they're in control, but it's a joke. You're not in control. You're not in control of anything. You think you're 19 years old and someone who is 45 or something is your mumu. They think like, oh, like I'm a boss. Oh yeah, I'm a bad girl. Yeah, bad bee. I've got that. Yeah, I run things. You don't run anything. You're a clown if you think that. That's what I think. Because the older man, you do not have that experience that an older man has. And he has built his thing. And you know, one thing that I remember is someone older talking to me, and what he said was, when we were young and we were on Legon campus, we saw these lawyers coming in their Benzes and stuff, and you know, they'll pack, and then you get all the girls that, you know, we can't get.
Yeah. So not to cut you, but I've had this conversation with someone who actually, who is older, and he said that when they were young, they were struggling. So the girls, their age mates were not paying attention to them. So now that they have grown, they've made it, now they have to go in for their children.
Exactly.
That is
exactly
the mentality now.
That
and
is.
so, like, if you look at it, most of the older men are dating the students because they feel like when they had to equally live it up in court, their colleagues or age mates paid no mind to them, because the older men who were well-to-do at the time were then the ones that were catering to or catering for their colleagues and then their age mates. So now it's their turn to also reciprocate the same energy. So I just
that's exactly what it is, because this was an open conversation that I had with someone, and that he told me plainly and simply, it's like, when I was in school, none of the girls minded me. So now I've made my money, I have my, so yeah, me too, I can also pull up on the girls hostel and park my car and have one girl come and sit down. So yeah, it's cool, because they feel like this is the time to live. I have no idea why they feel like this is the time to live. I actually try to avoid men who want to live their life later on in life.
Oh no, you can live your life later, but you just live it right.
You know what I mean. There are some people who feel like they can only jam after they have made money, and so when they actually make money, let me tell you, there's something. Okay, this is radio, but there's something I always say. What maybe your 1,000 CDs a month or something, the kind of women you could get at that time, you can't compare it to the time, let's say you're a bomber or now you're a millionaire, the kind of women that will come into your life. So if you don't learn that control when you were at 1,000 CDs, when you get to the 1 million, sister, you open the floodgates. And that's what I feel like a lot of people are doing. They didn't learn that control early on in life. So now that they feel like they have money, they're opening the floodgates and they're overdoing it. I know some, like, it's so, Charlie, it's so bad sometimes. And I believe that we are responsible for our sexual health. Nobody, you or Fariwa cannot be responsible for my health. And the person I'm sleeping with would not be responsible. He has to be responsible for his, and I have to be responsible for mine. So in the beginning, I feel like it's something where you're supposed to ask. And if anybody out there would actually hear me, especially the ladies, when you ask some men about HIV tests, they stop talking to you. They will stop texting you one time.
And I'll bring it up.
Yeah, they will stop completely. So I feel like it's something that you have to start asking from the beginning before you actually start catching feelings. And then your feelings will blind you into doing something that you don't want to do, or you're not even sure of, with someone who you're not sure what he or she has. Always ask first.
Very
always
critical.
ask first before the feelings start coming in, because the feelings will make you second guess yourself. And you don't really you can't second guess yourself in a situation like this.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's bring the conversation back to campus and back to the students. Is it that when we get to school, we forget our morals, or is it that they were not properly instilled in us, so it is easy to let go?
And I think it is a gamut of things.
Yeah.
The first one is like Ngozi said. For some time, it's been difficult for parents to talk about sex with their children. It might be evolving now, but I don't think we are there yet.
Yeah.
The children, even at a very young age, are becoming introduced to sexual relationships. So at home, that is the basis where they learn everything. We need to be able to introduce them gradually per their age and get them to understand what it means, where it leads to, what it leads to, etc., etc., and the dangers involved. Everything about it, we need to introduce it to them so that they begin to understand. Just like they learn their mathematics, their sciences, and all that. This is a critical factor that affects their lives. And so it needs to be introduced to them in a way and manner that as they grow, they get to understand. They can be able to add 1 to 2 to get to the level where if they have to say no, they would say no.
Yes.
But if we allow them with just little information, and for the first 15, 16 years, they are with us at home, controlled and all that. They get into the university where the floodgates are open. They then decide what to do. My friends are doing it. Everybody is doing it. So I should also be okay doing it. Not knowing the repercussions. Sometimes somebody might do it for a long time, nothing happens, but you one day,
Exactly.
and there's trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these are some of the situations that happen. There are people who probably have kept themselves, I don't know what word to use for it, maybe sanctimonious, and just one event brought them down. Not just pregnancy, but HIV coming out of it. And it's simply because some of them got overwhelmed by situations. Everybody says it's okay. It's normal. Why are you the only one? Why are you the odd one out? And so the peer pressure, pushes them into it. But it all comes down to the kind of training we are giving them from home, and then also from the church, from the communities, from our associations. All have to be able to take this as a very, very important factor and begin to train the young ones to understand. For me, I always say that they should get to the point where they can actually say, no,
I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this. I want to be clean.
Yeah.
And if there was an advert, if you must do it, then
If it's not on, it's not in.
yes, if it's not on, it's not in.
ABC.
That kind of thing. Yes, that is also part of the training. But as far as I'm concerned, if it is possible, they get to the point where they say no. I can only do this with the one I am confident with as a married partner. Then whatever happens in your marriage is the two of you. But on campus, yes, you can have your friends and all that, but when it comes to sexual relations, you should learn to say no, not for now.
So then it has to do with the morals instilled from home.
Exactly. And
because
then
I believe that if the morals are strong,
Yes.
no amount of peer pressure can sway you.
Yeah.
yes, if the morals are strong, no amount of peer pressure can sway. But you see, the conditions can easily also sweep one out of the way. You know, like I just made an example. Somebody from first year has been has tried their best to be chased all the way to the final year. Okay, I'm in my final year. Oh, all my friends.
Let me just give it a shot.
Let me. I've been with this guy for all these years.
Yes.
I mean, we are close. I mean, there's nothing wrong giving it a try. After all, we're going to get married, and then because both parties don't know what has gone on in the other one's life, really, it happens once, and then there's trouble.
Wow.
You know, so you could say that this one has a good training from home, but sustaining it through the years on campus is another thing altogether, because this is a freedom year. This is a year where you're virtually on your own. You know, so sometimes the impact of parental care in the university level is little, but the impact of church or religious group and associations is very high. So if these groupings can take that part of the training and imbibe and continually imbibe the morals properly in their membership, then you would have more people continuing what the parental care has given all the way to the end.
Oh, okay.
I would like to add another thing too that I think parents might want to add. Charlie, a lot of people do these things maybe on campus because basically a lot of people sell themselves. Let's just get into that. Like, it's what it is. They're exchanging sex for something else. Now, how to beat that? I believe one of the I don't think it can be beat. I just think you have to just let your child know the consequences. That way, they think about every situation before they get into it, and they don't just get into it blindly. Because I know some people who, there are a lot of people on campus who are taking care of themselves. They don't have any sort of income. Maybe their parents just paid 1 year and the rest is all for them. You understand? But so some people find it easier to sell themselves. But I also know some people on campus who have businesses. You understand? I know makeup girls on campus. She's a student, but she's doing makeup. And when her mates are going for events, they come to her room to do their makeup. That's one way. So I feel like if the parents could, the temptation will come. But then I feel maybe the best way you can deal with that is try and give your children other options that they can, look at strongly. And one of the best ways you can do that is you have to get ahead of the times before they get to university, taking advantage of certain classes, summer school, how to make beads, how to do makeup, how to sew, how to, something that they are good with their hands, so they don't feel like the only other option they have will be their bodies.
But there are people who have all the skills that you can think of, but then they just want to make easy money.
There are people like that. There are people like that. I know rich girls who still sell themselves.
Yeah, because just like the example you how you started your submission, saying that there are people who are catering for themselves or footing their own bills. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to sell your body. I don't think that's the only option.
It's not.
I believe it has
option.
to do with choices.
Yes, it does. But some people, my point is, some people feel like that is their only choice because I've met someone like that. When she needs something, she feels like the only thing she can do is hook up. And I keep asking, can't you do anything else? So she actually opened a shop, and I was glad about that because that happened like 4 years ago. She called me and she told me, she's like, Ngozi, do you know this shop I opened is because of you? Because Kawan Kanka.
That's nice.
Minye. She was a serious hookup girl, and she had unfortunately she had been in an abusive marriage, so she had a diamond ring. Luckily for her, the man gave her a real diamond ring, and the diamond ring was just sitting down, and she was doing hookup to pay children's school fees because the man is not taking care of her anymore because she wants to return the ring. I said, why do you want to return the ring? He's not taking care of you and the child that he gave you. Sell the ring. Sell it. It's pure diamond. Like, sell that thing and use that. So she sold that, and she used it for a small container, and now she has a shop. Because she didn't think about it. She just felt like, all I have is my body, because that's what she has in her mind. Her upbringing, she does have a nice body. So the upbringing, since she was young, body way. So she she thinks that that's all she has to offer is her body. Right. Until I showed her, like, no, you can sell other things. There are other things that you can sell. Your house is near a market. Small container put it in the market there, you will always get something small. So she called me after she had finished the shop and sent me a video of the shop, and she's like, Ngozi, this is because of you. Me.
That's good.
So I feel that's why I feel like parents should get ahead of the fact, like, before your child goes to uni, because I know some parents too. Uni, that's when something might happen and you will not have enough. And then they say, okay, you know what, you're a bit older, so maybe PBB. That's what the parents will say. But then you haven't also armed your child with what they can do. Right. So arm them. Holidays, they are watching too much TV and TikTok and nonsense. Honestly, YouTube, what are they using it for? Let them do something. If you're cooking, you like cooking as a woman, let your daughter come and cook by you. Maybe when she gets to school, she can do some small catering. Right. Maybe for boys, girls, she'll cook stew. Like every week, I have this menu. If you buy bulk stew, you keep it in your fridge, you take it out and you microwave. That's how to get money. I know people who do people's homework. Yeah. That's how they get money. Some can braid hair. That's how they get money. Some do beads. That's how they get money. Makeup. There are so many things that someone can do before they actually get there, but you need to empower that child to be able to do that before they get there. Right. Yes. Right, so I think that's one of the best things that we can actually do as parents in order to make sure that our children, the child, whether they are being is a traumatic response or whatever it is, someone who wants to do what they want to do will do what they want to do. But it's not all of them that are doing the things that they do. A lot of them do it and they come home and they will cry and say, I can't believe this is what I did. But then they are still doing it. Yeah.
All right. So talking about the post-traumatic responses and all of that, I think I've heard, I haven't seen anybody, but I've heard stories of people who as a result of previous abuses, they are now stuck on that, and they don't do it for the benefit. They just do it because there's an urge to go out there and satisfy that urge. So they just go about engaging in sexual activity. So it's just about anybody, just so they can satisfy that urge or please themselves whatsoever. As a counselor, Bramike, how do you suppose such situations are dealt with? And have you had any buddy with something in the likeness of this?
I have not directly dealt with anyone like that, but like I said from the beginning, sex is not just that event. It always has, whether it's rape or normal or consensual. There is always an after effect. Right. There is the connection. That's the emotional attachment, especially if it is consensual.
Soul ties.
Yes. That one is there. Now, the rape factor brings in a lot of things, into the, especially the female. The facts of the rape, the stress of it and all that could cause a lot of problems
Right.
for the person, especially the female. Sometimes I have read of situations where the funny it may be, but the female found out that the rapist gave her orgasm
Yeah.
at the expense of the husband, you
my
know.
God.
So the craving was now for
The rapist.
you know, or anything like that. You understand? So sex is not just the event, but the after effects. And so for that reason, you would need to address from all angles. The emotional angle, the spiritual angle, and of course the mindset angle. You need to be able to clear all those paths so that the individual would somewhat return to a place of normalcy. Because if there is a trigger of any of this, there is a likelihood that the person will crave. Exactly. And that is what may be leading a lot of them into promiscuity on campus. Like I said, maybe the initial purpose is, oh, I need money badly for, there are situations, people need money badly, sometimes for their school fees.
And then whoever they go to gives them that option.
There is no option anywhere. Whoever they go to says, unless
use your body to get what you want.
Exactly. And for a moment they are like, no, I can't do this, I can't do this. But hey, time is getting...
I'm in a fix.
Exactly. And so they are like, okay, it's just about a few minutes. Let me just give in and let it go. After that giving in...
But these students, do they do a few minutes?
No, I mean, the initial thought probably is like, okay, it's just a one-time thing.
Okay.
You know.
Because
so
few minutes there, right now, that's what they are doing.
So one-time thing becomes a forever thing. You know. So until it is actually dealt with from all angles, it is not something they can easily come out of.
Right. Right. And like you mentioned, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, it has to be dealt with.
Exactly.
Whose responsibility in this case is it to deal with it? Is it the school authorities? Is it parents? Or is it the school counselors? Is it the church? Because I know that a lot of the students or a lot of youth are troubled by these things. Some people even have to keep it to themselves because they don't want to be known as that boy or that girl who was sexually assaulted.
Yes.
You know, so they even hide it from their families. So they keep it to themselves and they are dealing with it. Who can they open up to? Where is the safe haven? Is it on campus? Is it with counselors? Is it with parents, family? Is it with the church? Do we even have such safe havens?
Yes, we do.
I think we do have. I mean, there are counseling. Even the campuses have counseling units that should be able to deal with such issues. But the point here is how accessible are these units?
Right.
The churches have counseling units. The campuses have. In fact, there are NGOs that have counseling units that deal with such stuff. But how accessible are they?
Right.
How much do people know about them that they could easily run to them for help? And then again, we have a general judgmental attitude in most cases, which becomes the reason why a lot will not even want to come forward for counseling.
Right.
We need to be able to flex, to make our counseling sessions flexible enough. We need to be able to erase the judgmental approach to issues.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because somebody is involved sexually, you have already judged them. And that is why some of them get diagnosed of HIV. They keep it to themselves and spread it because they know that I'm going to be judged anyway.
Yeah.
And so they want to, okay, I got it from somebody.
So I'll give it.
I need to give it out. Exactly.
Yeah.
But when they get into a counseling,
I
It's not
actually
as if
have
it's
a
leaving
question
your
to
body.
ask about that.
But
No, but they feel, there are people who are, in quotes, sick
Yes.
to that extent where they will feel like, oh, I won't go down alone. I won't
Exactly.
die by myself. I need to. I was going to ask, what do you think goes through their mind or gets them to the point where they feel like, let me put this out, let's all suffer together.
Yeah.
Because I was clean and somebody gave it to me, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Because there are people who know their statuses and are out there actively spreading it. I recently saw an article. I think that the Ghana Police Service had arrested a gentleman who had the virus, knew his status, but was about spreading it like wildfire.
Wow.
Exactly. So I know that it's a crime to even do that.
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yes. But then there are people who are sick like that.
Yes. Like I said, it's a mental thing. The first point is that immediately they are diagnosed, the mindset is that, okay, I am sentenced to death. All right. So I got this from someone.
Why not give it out?
I don't know who. So I'm also going to share it. Let's all die together. It's a mental thing. It's not the right way, because they don't often have the opportunity to speak with the right people to be able to bring them back to their right senses. Because at that point, there are so many things rushing through their mind, and so whichever comes is processed and accepted. But when they have some body or group of people that keeps them in their right frame of mind, constantly encouraging, helping them to grow out of it. I mean, I've seen many people who were positive, but because of their counseling sessions, going for their ARVs, after some period, they call it virus load or something,
It
reduces
comes down,
and gradually fades out.
Dies.
So if we have such counseling opportunities for many, it would help them to really grow out of it. But of course, like Ngozi said, there are some people who are just minded to be in it. No matter what you do, there will be no change. Those ones, there is little you can do except to pray and ask God to touch them by Himself. But there are a bulk of the people who, I think, with the opportunity to have very good counseling, they can come out.
Okay, so these are the few voices we were able to get from campus. So we'll take a listen to some of the students who spoke to us about promiscuity on campuses, and then we'll be back to continue our discussion.
Okay, yeah. So personally, I would say it's a big truth and a very big one, of course. This is because I've had some few encounters and few experiences around campus and off campus. Yeah, I had a chance to work with a friend who is in, one of the university's clinic, and we had a chance to look at the report of the number of students who are acquiring these sexually transmitted diseases. And it will marvel you to see the number of students who are getting these infections and they are on campus and they are still distributing it around. You see, some people come to campus, they come as fresh students, fresh meat, they don't know anything. But as a result of some friends encounters, they begin to engage in such things. Yes, so because I know a certain, I know uncountable number of people in my hostel, in my class. I know someone from level 100, how she was. We got to 300. The girl has changed totally. It's very raw. So I think there should be more education on the effects of some of these things. They wouldn't see the effects now, but as they grow and as time goes on, they will realize that, oh, it was a mistake that they did. But at that time, it will be very late for them. They can't do anything about it. So I think that school authorities, the media, the public, they should throw more light on that so we can try to, if not eradicate it, something, minimize it.
Okay. Oh, okay. So for me, it's something that I've heard that is going on, but so far I haven't encountered any experience on it. But though something for the university to do something, I think bringing out a policy or some regulations to avoid those things will help.
So if you come in.
Socialize, yes, you said socialize.
Yeah, I said where is
Oh, but what?
one in life.
So what are you advising students when they come around?
So I advise them that.
So is this something that is happening? And if it is true, what is the suggestion that university bodies should do about it?
Yeah, so I think it is something that it happens in all the universities. See, the universities are full of youth. So, and this sexual thing is also something that is really deep in the youth system. So I think what the school can do is the counseling team, they shouldn't wait for students to bring their issues there, because of maybe sometimes they'll be shy and they don't even know there's such a team who does that. So I think in my knowledge they can be having a program that the counseling team will share with us some of the advantage and disadvantage of you engaging yourself in sexual activities. So they shouldn't be waiting for the student to come to them, but they should rather engage with the students. And one thing, they should also be having more program about sexual education and others to throw more light on the benefits and the disadvantages of it.
Something that is going, obviously we are in a university, so yeah, I don't think there's anything they can really do, but we are youth already. Like, I don't know what they will say to change us, but unless they keep teaching us that, like, how to prevent this pregnancy and stuff, but then they can't tell us that we should stop. Obviously.
Yeah, everybody has his own lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, all right.
That's what I can see.
You can see.
Okay, so there you heard it for yourself. Sam actually said, and the one that got to me the most was a gentleman who said that he happens to work with or be friends with someone who works in the campus clinic. And so they saw, he was previewed to some of the reports,
numbers,
the results, so he knows. I remember early this year, there was someone who tweeted on X with the picture and room number, hostel and room number of a young lady on one of the campuses. I wouldn't want to mention the school's campus, but anybody who saw this on X saw it and said that this young lady here in this hostel room number so and so is infected, and she knows and she is spreading it. So if you have had any encounters with her, you might just want to go get tested. And trust me, the way X was lit that week, like people who were coming in to mention people they know had been with her, and you know, and one thing that I saw, one comment that I saw that hits me was the fact that, most of these girls, they are so easy. You don't even need to try too hard. Some of the guys too, you don't, like, they are open, they are ready for you. Should that not be, like we say, now we are in an era where we talk about red and green flags. So should it not be a red flag when somebody is literally, somebody that you think or you expect to be difficult is rather chasing you? Should it not be a red flag? Or in this instance, when it comes to these sexual activities, the mind doesn't function, so they don't see.
Oh, well, it's a yes and no. Yes, it should be a red flag to some extent, especially when sex becomes too easy.
Right.
You know, then you should understand that, hey, I mean, if we're entering into a relationship that is leading to marriage, sex should not be the first thing we should be talking about. I mean, we should be thinking about other things.
Yeah.
So if sex becomes the first thing, then it becomes problematic, and it should be a red flag. Because even if the person doesn't have any of such, maybe transmitted diseases, the fact that sex is ahead becomes a problem. Because if
That's
it is
all they are about.
exactly, if it's no longer there is the probability that person
Will not be there as well.
Exactly, would go behind. So that would definitely be a red flag. There are other situations also where, I mean, there is the desire of both parties, and because probably both are so much into each other, and then, you know, they're giving. So it might not necessarily be a red flag situation in that instance.
Okay.
But the point is, I mean, no to sex. That is
That's what we are promoting.
That is exactly, that is the point, is no to sex as much as possible. And then one of the ladies made an allusion to the fact that they are youth and they will explore. Yes. And yes, it is true. When you get, that's what I said, when you get to the university level, it's an open door, a free, controlled situation. You are controlling yourself. But it doesn't mean that there is nothing that can be done. At every point in time, we have controls. Even when you get to your working age and you are in the office, you have controls, you have directives, you have rules and regulations to work with. So it is not that there's nothing that can be done. It is about how effective is the rules and regulations,
right?
The associations, the monitoring systems, how are they responding? I would say a lot depends on, especially the social groupings, the church, the youth groups, the meeting, groups and all that. How effective are these taking some of these topics?
Right.
You know, how often do they invite guests and experienced resource persons to speak on this issue? And these resource persons as well, how open are they to listen to these ones and help them?
Okay.
You know, so that they can come out, or because somebody sees you and wants to confide in you. If they confide in you, how do you keep their secret? How do you help them out of their situation? All those things will help others to also flooding and then begin to churn out their difficulties so that we can be able to help.
I see. And so with what I said about the expose in quote on X, is that the right way to go? Should the student take it upon themselves to, you know, name and shame or expose? Or is it the school authorities' responsibility? Like, are we even allowed to, you know, draw attention or publish people's images and their statuses?
I think the health situation of any individual is something that is not supposed to go public necessarily. And so even doctors are not allowed to release
there's confidentiality.
Exactly. So for pasting it out there and all that, it is a no for me. Again, that could go a long way to even destroy so many people.
But then if they know their statuses and they are
still
going about spreading it.
I believe, like you said, there was a situation where the police came in to arrest somebody, right?
Well, yes, recently I saw that article.
So then if we have such information and we have nothing to do, then there should be a legal situation, a legal ground to say, look, I have this information and I know that this is what this person is doing. Then the police will take it from there.
Oh, so we should rather go to the police.
Exactly. Or in the case of a campus, there is definitely a counseling board. I mean, there should be what do you call it? Stages, you know, where you could report the situation and they would take it up from there and ensure that the situation is brought under control. But putting it out on social media, of course, if that person should take it up legally, the one who put it up there would rather be in trouble. Because
even if so yes, it's wrong that the person put it out. But what if the person also has proof that you actually know your status and you're also spreading it?
So then there are two things. You put it out there. I mean, is it legal? You know, the legalities will now come in.
Okay.
All right. Then they can deal with the fact that you also know, and those who have who fell for your irresponsibility can take it up, sue you, and then get reprieve for it. But for you to put it out there it's a no-no. Legally, definitely, anybody can take you up, and then you be at the wrong side. But for us to help others to know about the situation, is like as we are discussing now.
Yeah.
You don't mention names, but you have a fair idea
What's happening?
of what is happening, and you have knowledge of people who are doing it, and therefore you warn, you sound the alarm bells, you let people know that, look, this is really happening, so don't fall for it, because you might end up being in trouble. Not everybody will hit, but it might hit the right chords with a certain group of people, and they may also be saved from this kind of tirade. So I think that we should focus more on, like one of them said, the education, helping, the counseling, the support. And at this age, like she said, they are exploratory. So you cannot really do the hey kind of
You
thing.
can't tame them.
No. So you support, you help, you engage, and you can easily get most of them out of the situation. Finally, let me say that
We are not finally, or finally on this.
finally
before.
on
Okay.
this,
All
yes.
right.
Let me say that when it comes to the financials, currently it is a difficult situation to handle, because a lot of the youth are into the new things, technology, dressing, and all that. But if we are able to manage their expectations in life, then we can be able to tame them to some extent, and then help them to grow at their own pace. Like Ngozi said, if she's doing something and making her own money, and it is enough to buy an iPhone, why not? If she's doing something, it is enough to buy the Gucci's and the Versace's and the rest. Why not?
Ghana Gucci.
But
Ghana Gucci is good, Joe. It's good.
But if your money can only buy the Makola,
Go for it.
go for it.
And be proud.
And be
in
proud
it.
of
Be
it.
proud.
You
You
know.
know, to interject, I feel like a lot of people are pressured to wear designer.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you do the research on designer items, a lot of designer items are not even designer items. There was one time I bumped into a thread on Twitter, and people were talking about sunshades and the prices. We all know how you know how some of these designer
Of
shades
course.
are.
That's what I'm saying.
Chale,
That Ghana is good.
You
Gucci
see,
you get.
no,
not
but you
Gucci.
see the prices. A girl came on X and she said she works in the luxury eyewear industry. One person who has worked with them for years, the Pradas and the Chanels and the Gucci, and she said, honest to God, the most expensive eyewear it's like $3 to make. So the $500 you're paying for the brand name.
Yeah.
When you start to look at things from that point of view
Perspective, yeah.
or that perspective, you are not concerned about the designers anymore, because it's $3 you're paying $770 what $7 for it's not even a gold embossed logo. You're paying for what? Just the look. Come on now, you have to have sense at a certain point in time. Another thing too, this is my thing too as well. So don't follow the designer. If you want protection for your eyes, get protection for your eyes. I know people who wear 3 CD outfit, but they look nicer than
It's
the
how
person
you
wearing
put
a
it together.
$1,000 outfit. It's the confidence. It's how you put it together, and it's the fit,
Yes.
and how you also feel in the outfit.
Exactly.
So that's like growing a child or making someone letting the child understand. I know someone who By the time the child was 5, if you don't pop a tag, he won't go for party. Can you imagine?
Wow.
And now that he's 17, or by the time he was 11, he will see me, he will like, auntie, look at my red bottoms. That's what the child is concerned about, because that's how the child, the father has raised him. You understand? But I know people too, they'll enter Makola.
What's a Makola? Kanta.
Tale Kanta. Na atari obeyine.
It's not TV, so like I said, your way to buy this.
Exactly.
I don't remember the last time I went to a boutique. Honestly.
You see? But that's how it's supposed to be. You see, you are satisfied in what you have and what you wear.
Yeah.
As a parent, you need to know how to pass that down to your child. Make sure they understand it, even if you have the money to go round.
Yeah.
So when you get to a certain point and you're comfortable in your thinking and you're not fazed by certain things,
there's no way peer pressure can get to you.
Peer pressure will not get to you. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, fashion changes. Now, the things that the Gen Z people are wearing are those things our mothers used to wear.
Yeah.
The shoes and the jeans, those baggy jeans. Say a sherry.
Yeah.
I'm on a trim. Skinny jeans, yeah, share. It will come back again. You understand? But let the child just be comfortable. What are you?
I think the word is content.
Content in what they have.
Yeah.
You have to be able to put that in a child, one way or the other, even if you don't even know it as a parent. Just because you see what happens when you don't have that contentment, you have to learn it to put it in your child, just so they are not found wanting.
Right.
That's what. Yeah.
All right. So this will be our final question. How or what do we do to curb promiscuity? Because just like the young lady said, they are youth is in their blood. Like, it's oozing like wildfire. The edge is there. Go and do it. Go knock. Like, it's there.
Yeah.
Like she said, we can't. Nothing can be done about it. But I feel that there are things we can do to at least curb it, and also curb the rate at which these things are let loose, and students are just losing up themselves to their lecturers, to their tutors, to their friends, to older men old enough to be their grandparents and all of that. You know, how do we curb it? What can we do as parents, as a community, as a society, even on campuses and as churches as well?
I think the underlining fact is education. Education on the dangers, education on how to improve yourself,
right?
Education on how to be content, education on how to run through your university life without any trouble, any question mark, any issues. All these should be taken seriously. From the home, from the church, and then on campuses, the counseling units and all those groupings that are responsible for the morality and the shaping of the student body should take these things seriously and educate the students. And again, this one is just an appeal to the adult folk.
Right.
These are our future generation. If we as lecturers, if we as those who have the money, the rich, the senior citizens, want to destroy these young ones,
and they preserve their kids too.
and preserve but you see, the problem is we forget that these ones would interact with your kids in the future. So you destroy this, and then in the future, you are sitting there, and your son goes to bring this lady.
I want to marry her.
I want to marry her.
Hey, can
How
you
would you
imagine?
look like?
And you can't even tell your son why you can't marry her.
Exactly.
How are you going? It then now becomes a fight between you and the lady.
Yeah.
And then the temptation to eliminate comes in. You understand? But it is a mistake you made whilst you thought that you were on top of the world. You know, so it's an appeal to the older folk. I mean, it's different if you want to marry a young woman. That one is your case. If the young woman wants to marry you and you want to go and marry, then that one, everybody knows that you are married. But to be going around destroying the future generation in the name of the money's there and you give them what they need for now. Yes, for now they may get what they need, but the future is what we are looking at. And so we appeal to them as well. And then to those lecturers who also engage in such. I mean,
firing squad.
What at the end of the day, how do you see yourself if you have a daughter in another institution and another lecturer is doing the same thing to your daughter? If you will not be happy with it, then you shouldn't be doing it with somebody else's daughter. The reason you are a lecturer, a tutor, is that you are raising the future generation. And is that the kind of tutoring you want to give?
Right.
So if we are able to get to deal with some of these things, then it will become easier to erase. It's not going to be something that will happen overnight, but it's going to be a process that will definitely yield results. And then again, I think that the counseling units should also be more open and less judgmental in most of the cases. Let's be more friendly, because the more you are open, the more they are opened to you, and the more you also learn to be able to administrate other people's cases. But when we go the hard and fast way, what we know and what we have learned, the person may speak just little. You start rattling what the person should do. You will not solve the person's problem.
So
and
be
the
a
person
listener.
exactly, the person goes back the same. But when you are open and more listening, you get to know even much more than you expected to know, and that will help you to mold them.
Okay. So talking about knowing even Ngozi, sorry, I'll come to you shortly. Talking about getting to know more than you expect. Have you ever heard something from, I know you're not supposed to, disclose, but have you heard anything from any of your clients or patients that you feel like, I didn't expect this?
Yeah.
A lot. A lot.
Wow.
A lot.
No,
And even to the extent of names.
Wow.
Names.
Yeah.
You know how?
And then you go like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me not even sell myself. It's okay. But the names bit, I can imagine, because having hosted a show where people write to you to tell you their stories and seek help, Charlie, we've seen and heard names.
Yes.
And you just want to reach back to the writer and be like, are you sure this is
this person? The
person say, I'm like, wow. Things are really going on.
And to prove it, the person sent me WhatsApp messages. So I mean, yes, you go like, wow. So it's something that if I hadn't been open,
they wouldn't be, they won't open up as well.
Exactly. And then you can be able to help the person to come out of it and then become a better person.
Right. Right. All right, Ngozi, what can we do? How do we curb promiscuity on campuses?
Honestly, I feel like it's just the conversation. You just need to talk to your child, or just talk to the youth. That's the best thing, because the adults out there will still feel like they have the money to do what they can do. And Charlie, Oyo is scary. Oyo is scary.
No, honestly, I'm not even going to, like, when I saw these numbers, I'm like, oh, thank God my baby sister likes to school from home. Like, she never wants to be on campus.
It is scary.
Even though I know that she's a good girl. But then I like the fact that she moves from home to lectures, and most of her lectures are even online. So unless she has to go for thesis or something, she's mostly at home. And she's not the type to go out. My father even says, come and take your sister out sometime. So
It is
yeah, I
scary.
know how scary it is.
There's one time I was talking to someone and they say something like, "Oh, this weekend the Ebeko Cape Coast," and I said, "Okay,
Where are they?
there be oh no, they are going to their Cape Coast," and then the person is like, "Charlie, but we don't have girls for the trip," and I said, "But why do you need girls for the trip?" But yeah, they'll defend their thing. And then he's like, "Oh, but I don't even have someone." And then a friend says, "Forget, when we are going, we'll just pass one of the campuses and we'll get some girls."
My goodness.
And look, honestly, that's
Just to
exactly
spend
what
time.
they did. The girls didn't even pack clothes because they were like, "Oh, we'll take you shopping." So they all sat in their car in a convoy, went straight to a campus and called one random girl who was on the street like, "Yo, we need girls. We need girls for the weekend." In 30 minutes, the girl had brought girls for them to select.
What?
So it's not as if she went to choose one and say, "Okay, you go in this car, you go in." No, she came, "Okay, or the best of how many are back. So how many cars, like, so you choose yours. What type do you like? What size do you like? What color do you like?" This is how rampant this thing is. Yes.
Yes, it is happening.
To one for banana it's scary.
Oh, yeah, it's
they are
happening.
it's like a restaurant. They are picking them as and when. And it's not just about empowering your kids, telling them like what I said about the what you can do with your hands and the talk and opening up to them about sex, but then the spiritual aspect as well.
It's most important.
And a lot of these people have money that is not good money, not just for the girls or for the men, but for the women too. I'll tell you one story in regards to this. This one is when I was in uni. I had a friend. And he said they were bored. They didn't have money. Boys, 4 of them in the house. They just chilling. And then one popular woman called them rich woman. That woman is gorgeous. I'm not even going to lie. Beautiful rich woman with her Range Rover and everything. You know, that's taste mama. Yeah. And she calls and she's like, "Me and my friends are feeling bored. We need boys around." And she's like, "Okay, how many boys?" And they're 4. She's like, "We need like 4 boys." So they are already like, "Yeah, what's up?" And she's like, "We'll pay you $500 per head, $500 then." I'm talking about 2007, 2008. $500. Luckily for one of the boys, his grandmother was this late woman, the prophetess Edumfa.
Auntie Grace.
Yes. And that was their saving grace. Because they were getting ready to go. And the woman called. She called us boy. She's like, "Boy, now I'm fat." And I was saying, "Frey, I say, baby, I'm more kono. We're really no. Because the women are waiting for you. They just need your seed.
Yes.
They don't need anything. The $500 is not because you think that you're the most knackable or it's not for anything. They need to do a ritual and they need your body fluids. So if you go, that is your end. That's all I'm telling you. That's what she told the boy. And she cuts the line. So if you go. If you don't want to go, it be your own. Are you going to sell your destiny for $500? They didn't go. Now that person is a very big person in this town. Into your koyanka by now. Maybe why you're useless. I don't know.
Yeah.
You understand? So these are some things that we also have to let the children know. And some of us, when we're talking about these things, you make it too scary. But it's not scary. It's an actual fact.
It's a fact.
Spirituality is there. Life is also there. And if you're training your child as a Christian or as a Muslim, whatever religion it is that you choose, these are things that you already are aware about. But you push only the religion aspect and forget the spiritual aspect. We don't do that. Or you push only the moral aspect and forget the spiritual aspect. You need to do everything round so that child is aware. And you let the child know, like, I trust you. You understand? I trust you. And I'm hoping that you will make the right choices. And you let the child also Charlie, the children need to be confident in themselves. I don't feel like Ghanaians, we raise confident children. We have children who are always second guessing themselves because we are always backseat driving. You need to let the child be able to do their own thing. Or mistake, and so what? Yeah. You move on. You correct them and then we move on from that. So if we can get all these things in order, I believe the possibilities at least will be minimized. Maybe not totally eradicated, but at least a better form kakra, and your child will be able to make the right decisions, because the carelessness and the recklessness, dear, it will always be out there. When you go on TikTok, there are people who the fear no, but the wig is no. The wig na no. The wig best 8K. I saw some people's birthday, dang, like $20,000. Her boyfriend has bought certain things for her, and they are showing it.
To what end?
To what end? Obi bet nan chain. Then before you know it, you are doing things. You don't need all these things. In the end, you'll be buried in the ground, and you will not take anything with you. The Gucci will pass, the this will pass, but your peace of mind that you got something by yourself or through your hard work, or you didn't even, because I know people who go and do these things and they come back and they cry. They feel so bad. They feel so bad. You really don't want to be in that. So if you can open up, I just think parents need to be totally honest. You need to see your teenager and say, you know what, now you're ready for the world. This is what it is. We should not feel like, it's too much information for a child, because what you think is too much now, Kolano, maybe they've even learned what's right.
Yeah.
So we just need to be open with our children. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ngozi, and thank you very much, Mike. I agree with everything you all have said. I believe that I would go by the saying, train a child the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. I believe that in as much as there's peer pressure on campuses and everywhere right now, and even it gets worse daily, especially with the introduction of social media and technology and all of that. But I believe that there are things that no matter what, it cannot be taken from a child because of what you did as a parent. There are things that I learned from my parents, or I was taught growing up, that my younger siblings were not taught, but they picked up from me. That wherever I go, it guides my decisions. It guides everything I do. There are times where I'm almost at the verge of slipping. But then my mom's voice or my dad's voice will reecho in my head, and then it will just straighten you. You know. So let's make a conscious effort to bring up our children the right way. Teach them the difference between good and wrong, and the very thin line in between that can disappear or blur their vision. Let them know the difference. And I don't think that we would have these questions. And again, the students who are on campuses who have been infected, I know maybe you did not wish for it, you did not pray for it. It just happened. Like Mike said, maybe it was just a one-time thing you decided, and before you knew it, it's not the end of the world. Nobody set out to want to get the virus or get any form of infection or diseases. But then again, that is not the end of the world. Go get your drugs, be active in taking them. And with time, we've had testimonies and we've seen results that have actually literally disappeared because now the drugs are working. The drugs are potent. So instead of spreading it with the notion of not dying alone, maybe you might just want to give yourself another chance. Go get your antiretroviral drugs and save yourself and give yourself another chance and save another life. If you think being around a group of persons is what draws you into such acts or want to include you in certain activities, maybe you might just want to avoid them entirely and make new friends, or even just stay to yourself. Stick to yourselves. You won't die. Sometimes it's fun to be a loner. You get to do a lot of things, and then at the end of the day, when you look back, you realize that if I was with this person or that person, I would have done this, that. But since I wasn't friends with them, look at me. You may have lost on certain things, but you would have your sanity and your morals and dignity intact.
Yes.
So that's the same way I had someone say the exact same thing.
Honestly.
The same thing.
Yeah.
What she said it was, hey, now that I've cut this person off, won't say me nyama worry. Because coming in Antia and by now.
Yeah. I mean,
you understand?
You might not entirely be doing the exact things you're doing, but one way or the other, their attitudes or characters will rub off on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe some people would even see in the same light as they see them.
Absolutely.
And it does not help. So if you need to cut ties with certain people, do so. Be a loner. Stay in your room morning to night. Buy blackout curtains so that it even blocks out the daylight. Be in the dark. See, the way your mind will be sharp. Anyway, thank you very, very much. Today, as well, we weren't able to open phone lines, but you get to text us and tell us what you think can be done or what you believe we should do to help our young ones on campuses to curb promiscuity and also to curb the spread of diseases and viruses on campuses. Jonathan will be joining us with the sports updates in just a few minutes. And so whilst we wait for Jonathan, let me tell you about the Mindset Revolution Africa Conference and book launch that is coming up. So Train to Inspire Consultancy brings you the first of its kind, the Mindset Revolution Africa Conference and book launch, an event you do not want to miss. And